Welcome back to the channel. When last we left off, this is what we had gotten to so far. I did spend many hours trying to put all of these little tiny scales on this mermaid statue. I started out using Mod Podge. It was extremely time consuming and they wouldn't stay on. So I'm trying to put another one on and the last one would just fall off or move. And I try to push them down. Look at this. Everything's just coming apart. It was maddening. So I switched to the hot glue gun and that made it a little bit faster, but I was still having trouble
keeping these dang old scales on.
Now I had the added joy of burning myself with hot glue. And the band-aid you see in the picture is because I sliced myself cutting these guys out of the metal cans. It was very hard not to jump around with this project, but I made myself wait until every last scale was on this eel tail before I started painting. This paint is actually going on very translucently. It kind of looks like I'm rubbing some lotion on her, and this is her worst side. Every time I see a picture of her from this angle, it makes me mad. I picked a super light gray because she's supposed to be like a deep sea creature, right? That doesn't get a lot of sun, so she would be very pale, and it's spooky to be like a deep gray. And I needed to have something for the pastels to hold on to because I don't have Mr. Super Clear. So here she is, completely painted. I feel like it makes her skin look smoother, maybe. But there are places where you can still kind of see through it. I don't know, I probably should have put on a couple of coats, but I didn't want it to be too dark. So now this is a choice I made that I'm actually really happy with. I decided not to put eyes inside of these eyes. I'm going to keep them black because it's creepy and it looks so cool. So this is me stabbing her in the eye with a Posca. Turns out Poscas are not great for coloring in eyes. I do go back with some teeny tiny brushes, but I don't think I filmed it for whatever reason. I got some nail brushes just for doing doll faces, and it really came in handy for this. Now I'm gonna get out the soft pastels and start blushing this body with a dark gray. But as you can see, blushing it dry just didn't come out at all. So instead, we're going to wet this brush, get the soft pastel wet, and then it's just gonna smear on like magic. Look at this. Yes, I do need to figure out a better technique for this. I don't have great skills with the blushing, especially when I'm using wet soft pastels, because it kind of just looks, especially if you're using dark gray, it looks like she's dirty. Like it just looks like I'm smearing dirt on her. But what was great about it was that all of the blushing really pulled out the sculpting. So you could see all the sculpted features and it helps her look super creepy. Gives a nice crustiness to these lips, some really great bags and sleepy eye circles to make this gorgeous babe creepy and otherworldly looking. I'm thinking if I somehow gain the ability to have patience, I will be able to layer the dry pastel and that might give me a similar effect. But right now I can't even layer the wet pastel, so I just kind of smear it on here and it gets darker and looks dirtier. I can't blend it because that's just how it goes on, and that's that. I really do like the way it looks on the eyes and the lips and the under part of the nose. You gotta shade the under part of the nose so that you can see how beautifully it was sculpted. All right, just a little bit more, make these collarbones creepily pop out. And there she is, she's shaded. She looks super dirty, but I still actually really like it. At this point, I was dying to add the hair so I could see how she would look all together, but it was still in the mail. I didn't have the hair yet, so we're gonna switch. And now we're going to make
an accessory
because all babes have accessories, and this one is going to have an accessory that she has DIY'd herself by eating somebody. Currently, I am trying to film and sculpt this very close up, which was very difficult. As you can see, I'm feeling for it. There it is. I got it. Ew, what is all this hair? That's like leftover felt from something. How did that get in there? Gross. So you can clearly see I started out with 2 eyeballs, if you can call it that, and now I'm trying to get the nose. I don't know how this happens, but the other eyeball disappears while I'm trying to make this nose. There we go. Oh, well, I am going a lot to the right there, so it probably just, yep, it probably just fell into it. The situation is that I don't have the right setup for things that are not going to be laying down for me to film. Like, this whole mermaid thing was very difficult to film because it's not just laying flat. But here's her accessory. It is a skull. I did sculpt it by hand, and it was difficult because every time I got one part the way I wanted it, I would be smashing another side because air dry clay is very soft. Right now, I am just putting on the final touches, the little places where your skull fuses together as a baby. It's not gonna be a skull without those lines, so we'll finish that up, and then this guy will be done. Oh wait, it's not done. I'm gonna have to use a paintbrush, shove it in the eye holes, and make them completely disfigured. As I just said, I didn't learn. Look at that, I just messed up the whole skull again. Hopefully I adjusted that off camera because it is now ready and getting placed in the hand. She is holding on to it very casually while she examines something that she got caught in her teeth, because this is the leftover of the last guy that she ate. She just lured him down here with these bazooms and murdered him with these sharp white teeth that I have to paint in, and it's gonna be difficult once again to paint and film at this angle, so I'll probably finish this up, clean it up off camera. I'm really just going to shove this around in there, try to get some of those spikes white. I can't really see. Did I get it?
No.
That's okay. We'll do it off camera. Ta-da! Perfect. It looks great. So now we really have to address her nakedness. Since we're still waiting for this hair, I think maybe seaweed would look cute, like a seaweed wrap for her top, and this pea green roving wool would make a perfect seaweed top. So, magic. Voila! She has her top on, and it's cute, and it's green for right now, but unfortunately, the Mod Podge that I put on it's gonna change it, make it a little bit yellower. You did see that it was green first. Still waiting on the hair, so I decided that I would give her gray skin a little bit of a shimmer with eyeshadow. Because, you know, fish can be kind of shimmery, right? I mean, they look slimy, but they're also shimmery. So I found this gray, and I'm brushing it on, and wow, is it making her neck look dirty. Not worrying at all about that. I'm going to add a little plant right here. It's a plastic one. I thought about making some felt plants for the statue, but this one just looked so perfect. Time to get your lashes on. Your hair has finally arrived, and so I need to put those on so that they're not tough to put on once I get your hair done. It is a very crusty dotting tool, but it looks great. Your eyes look fantastic. Now, finally, we get to add your hair. So I was waiting for this foam clay stuff in the mail because I wanted her hair to look really smooth and flowy. So I got this stuff. It's very, very soft, super, super squishy. I've never used it before in my life. Don't know what to do with it. Don't know how to use it. And so I just start putting it on her head. I'm like, well, I'll just put it on and shape it, right? Is this good? Let's just leave it like this. This looks great. And I was like, it's not very flowy though. Can I make it flowier? And it's not staying up. So maybe I'll just put the base of her hair on here and take this big clump part off. Maybe work with it a bit before it's part of her hair. Oh, her hair looks cute like this. It's too bad I just did a short-haired character because, oh, this is so cute. A little bit too modern for a creepy, scary siren creature. As I'm smoothing this stuff on, I'm actually kind of worried that it's not going to stick to the statue because I've never used this before. I don't know how it works. Will it just fall off? It says it doesn't crack. So I sculpted some of this flowy bit and tried to style it on, but I don't really like this. I'm gonna have to mess with it off camera. It's just gonna take a minute. I think 2 flowy bits might have been too ambitious, so I did clump it into 1 big flowy bit off camera where it was easier. Originally, I was going to use some black flowy fabric to make this eel-like tail, but when this stuff came in and I realized how soft and smooth it was, I figured it would probably be easier and make it look more coherent, cohesive, if there was black on the tail as well as on the hair. And this stuff works really well to make this tail. It kind of just slid right on, and all of these little curly bits are very easy to shape. It looks kind of like a pie crust on the edges. This is the very last bit of sculpting, and this mermaid is now ready for her shine. We're gonna get some of this glossy Mod Podge. Get these eyes, of course, because they have to be creepy and shiny black eyes. I got her lips, even though wouldn't her whole body be wet if she were underwater? I don't know. We're not gonna talk about that. Instead, we're gonna get the other eye, and they actually looked kind of cool and creepy with the white, and I was like, maybe I should have put some white on top. That's for another doll. We're going to make all of the tail, all of this soft stuff look shiny because it's a little flat right now. It's kind of dull. So we're gonna shine it up and keep it from cracking even though it says it doesn't crack. Everything is glossed. We're gonna let that dry and then we will be all done. And here she is in all of her glory. Honestly though, I think this might be my favorite thing I've ever made. It just turned out like exactly the way I wanted it to. Even though I didn't have a super clear picture in my mind how it was going. I mean, look at all these scales on this tail. I put a lot of work into this thing. I was worried that the gloss wasn't gonna be very glossy because it was a $1.25 from the dollar store Mod Gloss, but it glossed it up. Look, it's glossy. The hair is smooth and glossy, just like I wanted. The tail is smooth and glossy. I've never sculpted a little teeny tiny skull before. That even looks pretty good. And the texture on this tail, I mean, come on. The plant, I needed a little bit of color. The plant looks perfect. I don't know where that plant came from, but it's perfect. So I am very, very happy that I like the way that it looks. Why don't you let me know how you feel about it? Tell me if there's anything you would change, maybe some tips on how to blush so that something doesn't look dirty if you have those. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all next week. Bye-bye.